Will there be a vaccine by Election Day? Some CEOs of major drug companies took an unusual step today, strongly telling Washington, we are going to do our jobs right. Today, an unprecedented joint statement from 9 drug makers pledging not to rush their vaccine candidates or cave to political pressure. Writing, we, the undersigned biopharmaceutical companies, want to make clear our ongoing commitment to developing and testing potential vaccines for COVID-19 in accordance with high ethical standards and sound scientific principles.
9 vaccine makers are coming out saying that they will stand with science. And the world is looking to science right now, in particular to vaccine, to make sure that we will bring us to the end of this pandemic.
Former Trump FDA chief, Dr. Scott Gottlieb.
I think that they're concerned that the public may not have confidence in the process because of the way that this has been swept up in a lot of political discussion in the vaccine development process and the regulatory process.
Right now, 3 U.S. drug makers have vaccines in phase 3 human trials, each involving 30,000 volunteers. Scott Balaban received 2 injections in July as part of Pfizer trials at the University of Maryland School of Medicine. He does not think he got the placebo.
I did have some fever and some tiredness, some chills, but that resolved overnight. And then after that, it was just muscle pain for maybe about 5 days. And then after that, it's been back to normal.
Meanwhile, 2/3 of those surveyed in a USA Today Suffolk poll say they will not get a vaccine when it's first offered. 44% will wait until others have tried it. 23% say they won't get a vaccine at all. Dr. Anthony Fauci, again today, said an FDA-approved vaccine is months, not weeks away.
I believe we will have that by the end of this year, the beginning of next calendar year, 2021.
And tonight, the American Academy of Pediatrics reports more than 500,000 children have contracted coronavirus, with the number of new cases rising as kids return to school.